Farming has been a critical part of Alberta's history and prosperity, and the evolution of farming has come a long way over the years. The threat of food shortages around the world has prompted a need for innovation, efficiency, and resourcefulness in the business of growing food. An increasing trend has also arisen for home growing operations, where people enjoy the comfort of growing their own food, sometimes on rooftops, back gardens, or greenhouses. Enter DeepBlueGreen, which is an AgriTech startup that has developed a full range of novel products for supplying nutrients to plants' roots that reduces water, energy, and nutrient use while increasing crop yield in indoor farms. Here to tell us more is founder and director Javid Sheikh of DeepBlueGreen. Thank you so much for coming in today, Javid. This is super awesome to hear about this great company of yours, DeepBlueGreen, vertical farming, and just the assistance you're doing on helping people get higher yields out of their indoor growing operations for vegetation. And there's such a high conversation now about the food shortages around the world that innovations like this are becoming more and more in demand. And I think even just during COVID, when we saw shelves being, emptied out, I think people want to get more involved with and take more control of growing their own food. So fantastic product that you guys are producing over there. So tell us a little bit about DeepBlueGreen and what the company does and is.
Yeah, so basically the overarching philosophy for our startup is to be able to increase productivity for farmers, be it indoor farmers or greenhouse farmers or even field farmers for that matter. And to that end, what we do is we are developing some of these hydroponic equipment and aeroponic equipment and products that can fit in a greenhouse. So right now our client targets are basically indoor farmers that grow crops in a greenhouse or in an indoor setting.
Awesome.
And what we are trying to do is we're trying to develop these hardware so that we can actually offer these as services, as indoor farming as a service to these farmers so that they can at least increase their productivity by 10x in their greenhouses. And that's what we promise, a minimum of 10x, but we actually aim for higher than that, as a matter of fact. So with these kind of devices, what we do is we not only increase productivity, we actually extend shelf life of product too. So what we do is like with the same plasma water generator. So one of our product is a plasma water generator. What that is basically it is a device that takes nitrogen from air and ionizes that nitrogen and dissolves it into water.
Right.
And once you have that nitrogen dissolved in water, it creates nitrate in the water. So it helps the plant two different ways. So it actually increases the yield by fertigating the plants with these with the treated water, and at the same time you can actually use that same water to wash off produce. So if you have, if you're growing strawberry in a greenhouse, or if you're growing lettuces in a greenhouse, so you use that water and you wash them, and it extends the shelf life because it's
kind of rejuvenating it.
Exactly.
It's like putting skincare on your face. That makes total sense.
So yeah, it's basically, so it helps right throughout the plant growth cycle, and also after the produce has been harvested. So it helps farmers at almost all stages of growing the crops, and not only growing the crops but also in storing the crops getting that to the market.
Yeah. So the system itself, these are hardware units that you're developing, and then you're giving that to these or selling these off to these individuals that are looking to grow, and then they're implementing into the system. How does the implementation work? And power requirements and things like that?
So what we have is a device, basically. So we have different versions of the devices. We have a small, a micro version of it, which is the same size as a microwave, a kitchen microwave. And we have much bigger versions, like XL versions of the same plasma water generator that can treat 20,000 liters of water in an hour. So the micro version is what we offer to the indoor growers up to 2-acre farm sizes, like if you have rooftop farms. So we have been generating some interest in Montreal, here in Alberta as well.
Yeah.
And what these devices do is basically they generate a high voltage plasma. And inside the device, and the water is there's a water line. So what you do is like when we sell this, we install it on a greenhouse. One of our technicians goes out and installs it on a greenhouse, and all you do is you plug in a water line, and you plug it into your power line, and basically from that point onwards, it just starts generating water.
Right.
So it's just plug and play.
Right.
Pretty much. And if there is any issues, we have an IoT system built into it, which lets us know off-site.
Oh, remotely.
Remotely.
Okay. Yeah.
So it has a software aspect to it that we are developing as well.
Gotcha. Well, that's pretty handy.
Yeah.
And so then, can you guys service it from remotely as well, or it just kind of notifies you and the user that there's an issue, and then they can address it?
So at this stage, like the way we are developing it, like we're developing it in stages. So the hardware was one of the bigger challenges that we had.
Right.
Once we were done with that, we are actually focusing on the software side of it. So at this point, it's just a one-way notification.
Gotcha.
And eventually, we would like to be able to fix issues remotely.
Okay.
But at this point, it's more of just monitoring. Monitoring the nutrients and the ions in the nutrients.
That makes sense. Now, what about power draw? I mean, you're talking about putting this in homes and home growing operations. So I'm assuming, like you've mentioned, microwave, kind of similar power draw. I'm assuming that these can be operated on very low energy usage and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So I mean, the micro version that we have is so it generates a lot of it requires a high voltage.
Okay.
In the range of 20,000 to 70,000, in that range.
Gotcha.
But it draws a very small current. So the overall power, the current is in milliamps. So the overall power usage is the same as using a microwave or running 10 light bulbs in your house.
Gotcha.
Similar to that kind of a power draw. And eventually we are trying to develop devices that can run on solar energy.
Perfect.
And so if you have a greenhouse that has solar panels installed on it, you can actually run it off of that. So
that's awesome. Yeah. It's the wave of the future. I mean, everyone's talking about this, and you're starting to make this a reality. So maybe take me a little bit through the journey of DeepBlueGreen, where you kind of started and how you've gotten to this point as a company, and who kind of you've met along the way and who's helped you out.
Yeah. So, I mean, plants have always fascinated me, and like I have a background in biology and physics.
Awesome.
So I even growing up as a child, like I would read about plant responses to things like sound and touch and those kind of things. So I knew like there are stimuli that plants respond to other than just light to grow and just needing water to grow. But there are other stimulus that plants respond to. So in my university years, like in my first year and the second year of university, I had a plant physiology professor that really inspired me, because I would bring all these ideas to him about using magnetic shields around plants and learning about the nutrient uptake of plants by doing that, and using electrostatic field to better apply fertilizers on plants and those kind of things. So I would bring all these ideas, and I mean, I was young at that time. So I mean, even in my mind, I knew I would be laughed at, but like my professor wouldn't.
Good.
He would say, okay, let's try this. And I mean, like we would use some of these ideas. I mean, like the one idea where I wanted to shield off all magnetic field around plants. Basically, Earth has a magnetic field.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn about like the calcium uptake in plants. So that was It's always been inspiring to me.
Good.
To be able to learn how plants respond to these physical stimuli. I mean, not just they're not static in any ways. Plants they respond to everything in their environment, and not just light and absence of light, but also sound and magnetism and electricity. So I was aware of experiments that were being done in Europe and especially and in the U.S. With regards to plasma. Being plasma treatment of water, and plasma being used in food processing. So it's also used in processing food before they get packaged. So I was aware of its application in food industry, but in post processing of food. And in the past 10 years, there has been some research on using plasma directly as directly treating the plants themselves.
Yeah, with like a stimulus, right?
With a stimulus, and also treating water that is supplied to the plants.
Right.
And that's where I decided, okay, I can take this idea further and research.
Like turned your passion into a business, which is awesome. How about some of the people that helped you along the way? Some of your partners, and I mean, you're being spotlighted on the Edmonton Unlimited event here, Startup Week next week. How's that for you, and what does that mean for you?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I mean, I have a co-founder. He's an engineer from University of Alberta, and it's pretty exciting for us because I mean we have been developing these devices for quite some time now. I mean, like 3 or 4 years almost now, but we never were ready to kind of present it up until we were absolutely sure that, okay, this is the time we start offering trial grows. And even with the trial grows, we actually do it for free. Gotcha. We want to learn from the device itself and how it's responding and it's helping farmers. So most of our trial grow offers, we either do it at cost or for free. Okay. So it's been a great journey, like because it's me following my passion now.
Yes.
And on the way, like I've made friends, my co-founder being one of them, and it's been amazing.
Right on. That's fantastic. Well, I can see your passion for it. You really enjoy talking about this. So this is fantastic. I can't wait to see more of this into the future and watching your company grow. Congratulations on being spotlighted here with Edmonton Unlimited. And all the best of luck for you. So thank you again.
Thank you very much.
You betcha.
Thank you.